What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing good. If you're new here, my name's Carney. I make fishing videos, tip videos, catch and cooks coming soon. And yeah, so if you like that kind of stuff, make sure to go hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit that little bell right next to the subscribe button as well. And yeah, let's get into this. So this video is going to be the top 5 bass fishing baits for the fall, but not just bass fishing baits for the fall. It's going to be for in ponds specifically, because I'm a big pond fisherman from the bank, and I have a feeling that a lot of people on YouTube and a lot of people watching this are too. If you have a boat or a kayak and you like fishing the lake or rivers and stuff like that, that's awesome. But this is mostly for people who are, you know, getting into fishing, who don't really know what to throw in the fall when pond fishing from the bank. So lure number 5 for pond bass fishing in the fall is this right here. These are chatterbaits, and this is the lure you want to throw when you're covering water. So this is the most aggressive lure I'd probably throw in the fall, just because the bass are getting a little bit less active. The bass won't really react to lures like this as much as they would in the summer or the spring, right? So that's why I would throw these in the fall though, just because all the shad are dying off, right? That's why I have these two colors, a white color, one with a bit more color for that dirty water. This will be in the clear water just because it's super natural. This one will be in the dirtier water just because it has a little bit more like a pizzazz to it, right? So it has some green, some blue, some brown on there, and then a white trailer, of course. So now if you find out that your pond doesn't have any shad whatsoever, you have to target the exact forage, the exact bait fish that's in that pond. So like a pond I fish all the time, it's in most of my videos, there's a lot of bluegill in there and not so much shad. So that's when in the fall I'm gonna throw a color more like this, or even a color that's a green pumpkin color, to really imitate those bluegill, because you still want to imitate whatever the bass are eating in the fall if it's a pond. This is only for ponds, right? So if the bass aren't eating any shad and you throw a shad lure in a pond with only bluegill in it, then you probably can catch some fish, but the bluegill will be a lot better of an option. So what I do with these guys is I'll actually slow roll them, and I'll kind of work them like a jerk bait. I'll jerk them and I'll let them die off. I'll do anything to make this action of this chatterbait really kind of go evenly all across the water column, and then kill it for a few seconds just to make it seem like a dying shad. And that's what really triggers the bites from these bass in the fall. So that is lure number 5. All right, so now moving on to lure number 4 for bass fishing in the fall, in a pond specifically, is this right here. This guy right here is a swim jig. So like I said, the chatterbait is more of an aggressive approach when bass fishing. So this swim jig right here is more of a subtle presentation. And if it's, like I said, if you have bluegill in your pond, this is kind of like a chatterbait. You're still gonna reel it in, you're still gonna kill it, you're still gonna do all those good things, but yeah, there's no blade on here, there's no vibration. It's a little bit more subtle. And since it is a pond, you don't need as much vibration and as much flash to get the fish's attention, since it's such a small bodied water, right? If you have a lot of bluegill in your pond and not shad, this right here is a great way to go to catch those fall bass. Now I also included this guy right here. This is just a black and blue flipping jig. You can also go with the football headed jigs or just like the other finesse jigs, but the reason I'm throwing in just this is an extra lure. This isn't part of anything. It just goes with number 4 because that was a swim jig. This is a flipping jig. So this is basically an extra lure for you guys, but the only reason I'm throwing this in is because these jigs are excellent ways to catch huge bass before the winter comes, because bass are going to be reserving all their energy. They want a big easy meal. If you fish this guy really slow in the water, you can get a big old bass, eat that. And yeah, the biggest bass of the year are sometimes caught in the fall for that reason specifically. So fish big before the winter, another extra tip for you guys. And yeah, the way I fish this would be hopping it off the bottom very slowly. It will imitate the bait fish in the pond if it is a crawfish or a bluegill. Not so much a shad in this case, but if you get a different color, like a brownish or a white, black, and brown jig, just like this one, or a swim jig, it would easily imitate a shad as well. So that's bait number 4. All right, so bait number 3 is when you can't catch a fish on a chatterbait and you can't catch a fish on the jig so far. So you want to go with something a little different. You want to try some new things. this is when you would go with something like this. So these are just your good old Squarebill crankbaits. You can get a lot of different crankbaits. More of the narrow crankbaits are good as well. And these are two very good colors as well. And the reason that I picked this guy right here, this is a bigger crankbait. You don't have to go with the bigger one if you don't want, obviously. But the color is really great because if you notice, all the leaves that are falling in the water are usually brown, red, kind of like a light orange or a dark brown color. This is a really good representation of it because all the leaves are very similar to that. So this color, really good in the fall. Honestly, I can't tell you why. It just matches all the colors of the leaves. I've heard a lot of great fishermen and a lot of YouTubers, a lot of pro fishermen say that this color just excels in the fall. Now another color, just like this one, is a shad crankbait. It's white. Obviously, if you don't have shad in your pond, don't fish this. Fish a bluegill, fish whatever you have in your pond. Fish more of a crawfish style bait like this one. So I would bomb a cast with one of these guys and I would very slowly retrieve it. That is how I've caught so many fish in the fall, and I can't stress that enough. So you bomb a cast, you reel it very, very slowly. Ever so often, you know, give it a little tug, give it a little different action to make it seem like an injured bait fish. But if you just reel it in slow, you can catch them like that as well. So yeah, that's bait number 3. All right, so bait number 2 is if it's getting a little bit tougher to fish and you want to fish something that is more like a soft plastic, but you know, it's the fall, so you can't just toss out your good old Texas Rig Senko and you can't just cast it along every bank and catch fish. You know, most people probably could do that, but not where I'm at. In Ontario, the water's already really, really cold in ponds because of the weather, so I'm not going to be throwing a Texas rig, but the next best thing is this right here. This Wacky Rig is what I would be throwing. Just because unlike a Texas rig, it doesn't have that big bulky, it's a lot less of a bulky presentation. It's more of a subtle presentation. So I would throw this weightless, I forgot to say that, but yeah, weightless Wacky Rig, because when you cast this thing, it literally just drops just like this, and then you'll bounce it right back up just like this, so it'll have that little action right there. Honestly, I couldn't tell you why this catches fish, but it just catches a lot of fish. A lot of these fish are gonna bite it right on the fall and right after a few twitches, but that's how you fish it. You'll cast it real far, give it a twitch or two, it'll have that bouncing action, and fish just love it. So this color right here is a green pumpkin chartreuse tail, great for bluegill, but obviously, again, don't throw this if you only have shad in your pond or the bass aren't eating bluegill, all right? So if there's shad in your pond, throw a white Senko. If there's dirty water, try something white with a little bit of color, you know? So yeah, green pumpkin, great color for all around. So you probably could probably catch some good fish on this, even if there's whatever in your pond. This is a great color. Green pumpkin, chartreuse tail always seems to prevail. So yeah, that is bait number 2. Alrighty guys, we have made it to bait number 1, and this is the bait. I'm telling you guys, a lot of people don't even know about this bait, but this is the bait that'll catch you so many fish. This goes through the summer, the winter, the fall, and the spring. But this bait is literally insane. I couldn't even show you guys this bait just like this because it's actually tied on my rod because I caught fish on it the other day. But this bait is insane. I don't know what it is about it, but it is extremely subtle. This is what it is right here. It's a 1/4 ounce Z-Man Shrooms jig head with the Finesse TRD. I think it's like a red and a brownish color, but it is an amazing bait. You cast this thing. I like the 1/4 ounce just because I can get a lot of casting distance, and they do seem to catch bigger fish. They do seem to still catch the really small fish in the pond and the big fish, of course. So you'll bomb this thing out, and it is just so subtle. This is all it's gonna do in the water. You're gonna bomb it out, and it's just gonna fall down like this. It has the most subtle action on a lure that I've ever seen, and then you're just gonna bounce it like this, and that's all it is, guys. And I actually do have a little weedless hook bar thingy right there that helps a little bit, I guess, but this is the #1 lure I'd recommend for pond fishing bass in the fall. And yeah, you can fish this all year round. I bet you could even fish this in the winter and catch fish, and that's what I'm gonna do this year. So this is #1, definitely my favorite lure. I can't even stress it enough. And I actually caught a 3-pounder on this thing right here, and that's posted on my Instagram. So if you want to go see that, make sure to go follow my Instagram and check that one out because that was awesome. And that just goes to show that this lure right here excels in the fall, and it excels all year, but I've had a lot of luck with it in the fall. Just that little subtle action right there. I'm gonna link all of these in the description if you want to go get some. So yeah, This bait right here, number 1. If you made it all the way to this point in the video, thank you so much. Make sure to hit that like button if you learned anything from this video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button with the bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.